He would always pour hot sauce on his butt and then and stuff like that. And make him scream, taunt, and stuff like that. Then we got this metal spatula down right over that he used to beat him with it.
This is Jennifer Ebert, who was a witness not just to abuse, but to the unbelievable torture of a child named Takoda Collins, inflicted by his own father, Al Mutahan. At the time, Al Mutahan was dating Jennifer's sister, Amanda.
Takoda lay on his stomach. Hands, I don't know if his hands were behind his head or his back, but I know he stood on him with all his weight holding the ceiling like this.
He was standing.
Yeah.
Takoda was living a nightmare, but that wasn't even 1% of the atrocities he'd committed against his 10-year-old child.
How long has he been up there basically naked? What would you say?
Probably a long time. Mainly the whole time.
By now, it was clear that Al Mutahan was beyond any help or logic, but the real question was how deeply Jennifer and Amanda were involved in the senseless violence inflicted on an innocent child.
Did Amanda ever do anything to stop this?
No.
Did she ever try and stop Al?
None of us had.
It's evident that Al Mutahan is a monster with no remorse, but the actual horror starts once he starts talking in the interrogation room.
The tart? On the tart. No, he pulled the stick out. Or whatever, the stool piece. He pulled it out of his. So I go up there. I'm like, get that out here.
Our channel has previously delved deep into Al Mutahan's interrogation, but now the focus is on Jennifer Ebert. As a key witness, will she back up his story or reveal shocking secrets that could change everything? The tragic end of Takoda's life began with a 911 call placed by 32-year-old Al Mutahan McClean from his Ohio home on December 13th, 2019.
What's the location of your emergency?
Yes, my son is unresponsive right now. He got something coming out of his mouth.
What do you think is coming out?
I'm not sure what it is.
Can you clean that out of his mouth a little bit? Take your fingers and clean it out of his mouth, just so he doesn't choke on anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you think he could have taken anything, or you have no idea?
I know he likes to eat his own poop and lay in his own pee all day.
Okay. Is that
I'm blowing in his breath,
Okay,
and it smells real rotten in the inside of his stomach.
Is he breathing? And you're going to blow 2 breaths into his mouth, okay? You're going to cover his mouth with your mouth. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
While Takoda lay lifeless on the ground, his mouth was filled with his own feces. Al Mutahan was clearly heard vomiting after attempting CPR. At the time, no one knew why Takoda had ingested his feces. However, when police arrived, they discovered it wasn't just suffocation, but Takoda's body was also bruised and battered. There was even blood spattered on the walls of the home. From the moment they arrived, it was clear that the place was nothing but a house of horror, with secrets kept hidden in every corner. So, Amanda Hines, her sister Jennifer Ebert, and Al Mutahan McClean, the 3 adults of the house, were all brought in for interrogation. Unfortunately, both Al Mutahan and Amanda denied ever being too harsh toward Takoda and had tried to evade justice. But what about the one person who witnessed it all? This time, the spotlight shifts to Jennifer Ebert in the interrogation room, and she would go on to reveal details that would send shivers down anyone's spine.
So was he in school when you first came?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was going to school.
Yeah.
How long from the time you were here did he stop going to school?
Let me see. I think he didn't go to school this year and then last year. So about these last 2 years, yeah.
Okay. And so has he been in the attic most of the time since he stopped going to school?
Yeah.
Okay. When did the abuse happen before he got pulled out of school?
No, he was doing it while he was in school, but he just spanked him with an open hand at first. Like, he just kept on just spanking him at first.
Like a lot? Or?
Yeah. I mean, he is a good father. He won't intentionally do it, but Takoda was just so out of control. He just couldn't do much they needed help for him and everything. They just never really got any help from him.
So this excessive abuse, though, where he's been up in the attic and he's been hit with things and punched and kicked and stood on, when did this start?
I would have to say about when he got pulled out of school.
Okay, so maybe last year, a couple years ago?
Yeah.
A couple years ago, whenever he was done with school.
Yeah.
Were you there when Khalil was there at all?
Yeah.
What was the story with him?
Honestly, I don't really remember much. I don't remember.
Did Al hit him at all? Because he's a little bit older.
I don't think so.
Unlike the other two, Jennifer begins revealing the secrets one after the other from the very start. It's outright tragic at the moment, but as the interrogation proceeds, the details grow increasingly sinister.
So he's been staying kind of up in the attic, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to make sure that we've got this right. So he stopped going to school 2017?
If I remember correctly, somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay. And that's when he was pretty much put up in the attic.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, was he locked up there at that point?
Not at first, but after he jumped out the window is when he had to get locked up there for his safety and everybody else's.
Okay. Well, why would he jump out the window? Like, was that door to the other area shut?
No, the door wasn't up there yet.
Okay, but was the downstairs door, because there's a lock on that door too, was that one locked? Where it's like
At the time, yes, because we was all sleeping.
Okay.
He did it early in the morning. And then he came knocking on the doors, I guess. I was sleeping or whatever, and Amanda came, it woke me up freaking out because there's blood everywhere. And he just said that he had a bad dream about zombies and everything, and he was saving himself, and he jumped out a window about this big.
Right.
So.
And he was saving himself?
Yeah.
Okay. So he comes home from the hospital like maybe a day or two after that incident. I know that from medical records. So he came home it might have even been the next day. What happened then? Did he go back up to the attic when he came home?
No, because he had a cast on his legs, so they moved him to that one off the dining rooms because he couldn't walk down the stairs with the cast on.
Okay, and so how long do you think he was there?
I'd have to say probably a couple weeks at the top, maybe a month.
So did he stay back in that room all the time? Did he just stay back there? Did he eat back there?
Yeah.
He just stayed in that room?
Yeah.
Okay. Did Al spank him or hit him during that time?
Not that I would remember.
Okay. So at some point, though, how long? So he gets the cast off, I'm guessing, at some point, right?
Yeah.
Did he go back and get it off?
I don't think so. I don't remember if they did or not. I think they took it off themselves.
Okay. And so after his cast got off, is that when he went upstairs again?
Yeah.
Okay. At what point, because he doesn't have any clothes. He doesn't have any clothes that are his size. Obviously, he soiled them all at different times.
Yeah.
How long has he been up there basically naked? What would you say?
Probably a long time. Mainly the whole time. So every time we give him, even I gave him a pair of shorts to cover himself up, and we gave him diapers and everything, but he just kept on soiling himself.
So most of the time he's been up there. So possibly
Yeah,
since like 2018, because that's when he got injured. Is that right?
Yeah.
This brutal torture had been going on and on for a long time, and Takoda was just a child. But his torture didn't just revolve around his physical pain. It went beyond to his surroundings, as his room was filled with filth. And one can only imagine the mental torment the little child endured for days. But that's not even the worst part. What Jennifer has yet to reveal is truly heart-wrenching.
When did Al, in comparison to the time he started staying up there, locked up there with obviously naked, how long until Al started really beating on him, punching him, hitting him with stuff?
I would have to say probably a few months ago or so, around that 2 months ago.
So the excessive abuse started a few months ago.
I would have to say so, somewhere around there, yeah.
Did he punch him before that?
No, he just used his open hand at first.
You mentioned that he used a taser on him. How long ago was that?
He only used it once.
That you know of?
Yeah, that I know of.
How long ago was that?
Probably weeks ago, maybe.
A couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the hot sauce issue?
Well, every time he came down wet, he would just pour it on him. That's all I know, is that he would just go all crazy on it, pour it on him. When he was on the stairs, upstairs, he would go upstairs and just, yeah.
Pour the hot sauce on him to make him burn, and that's what he said, to make him burn?
Yeah.
So how many times do you think he did that? I mean, you were saying a lot, and this was daily, right?
Yeah.
He used it almost daily on him?
For like, maybe in the last week or so, yeah.
Okay, but he did it before that, just it was more consistent over the last week?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Wasn't
I'm not trying to put
wasn't
words
the
in
first time he actually did the hot sauce and spray, like he used cologne to spray him too. So it wasn't the first time he did that.
On his butt or
just everywhere.
Okay.
But that was only a glimpse of what happened upstairs. In truth, Takoda's attic room was a living hell, and Al Mutahan spoke of it with eerie detail. Al Mutahan would feel every emotion except for sadness and regret.
So I'm sitting on the couch. And he like, Dad, come here. Like, he like, Dad, help. So I come up the stairs to help him. And that's when I noticed his body was cold, very, very, very cold. So I took him downstairs and tried to rinse him off, to see if he'd shake out of it, wake up. I mean, I had no clue of knowing that he was sick to that extent, or that this is gonna go anywhere near this far. I mean, I just figured he was doing his normal acting out. I mean, he was kind of tweaking a little bit, you know what I mean?
At this point, nobody would understand what he means except for the cold-blooded killer Al Mutahan. But bit by bit, the details are finally pouring in. According to Al Mutahan, it was just his way of disciplining Takoda, but the extent of his actions is undeniably monstrous. At first, it may seem like Al Mutahan had only been torturing Takoda mercilessly for about a week or so, but the truth was far from it. The continuous mistreatment started in 2015 and had been going on for years. From punching Takoda to putting stuff in his genitals, Al Mutahan did every hideous thing that can be done to a person. But detectives don't just believe what they're told. They know this isn't just a monster preying on a child. The abuse has been overlooked for far too long, and that's when the detective catches Jennifer off guard.
I want to go to the day of this incident, and I know this is super upsetting, okay? And in some regards, this obviously isn't something you're openly talking about with people, so maybe it'll help you to say it again, okay? Mm-hmm. I know that's hard to say, but we just have to make sure we have the details of that day.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so you're awake, and he's stumbling, running into walls, was
Yeah.
my understanding.
Yeah.
Tell me from there, kind of.
Well, I want to just start from the beginning of the day.
That's fine.
Okay,
Nope,
so I
even better.
wake up about 6:45 every day because I have to get the boys fed and ready because they want me to get Takoda fed and use the bathroom before Josiah wakes up because he's naked and he stinks and everything. Josiah doesn't need to see that. So I get his food ready and call him down. I call him like maybe 10 times. He wouldn't come down. And then finally I said, just forget it. You can just stay up there. Just do whatever. And then he said, I'm coming. Took him a while. And so I just stood there with the door open waiting for him to come down. And I seen him. He was holding the walls like this, trying to walk, and he was stumbling and stuff like that. So then when he came down, I opened the door a little wider so he can come through. He rubbed up against that corner between the hallway corner. I told him to stop rubbing on things. I just, like I said, I thought he was putting on a show like he always does. And so then he fell towards Josiah's door. I stumbled, and then to the bathroom door. He stumbled across that, and then when he got in the bathroom, he fell forward into the bathtub. Like, he just, I don't know how to explain it, but he just held himself like, oh, like, you know, when you throw up or something, that's how he held himself. And then I told him he's got to stop, otherwise he's going to wake up his dad. And then finally he was pulling down his shorts, whatever, to go to the bathroom, and I told him to get off because he couldn't touch the toilet, and his clothes couldn't touch it or anything, because he
had clothes on?
Yeah, he wears shorts sometimes. And then he had to hold the toilet to hold himself up, and then when he was going to the bathroom, Al came out his bedroom. And this is probably about 7:30 or something, or a little after. And then, or a little before. And then when Al came out, he elbowed him in the back, and then he fell forward. Takoda fell forward, and that's when I just walked away because I knew it was just going to go bad from there. And then that's really all I've seen. But then he went upstairs, and then I only seen a few bits of it, so because I was reading and watching Josiah at this time. But the parts that I did see was that he made Takoda lay on his stomach, hands, I don't know if his hands were behind his head or his back, but I know he stood on him with all his weight holding the ceiling like this.
He was standing on
Yeah.
him. Okay.
And that's basically the rest that I've seen. Because I just didn't want to see what was happening after that.
Right. Well, at some point you said he brought him down and put him in the bathtub.
Yeah. And then after that, he told him, because he was washing his shorts at the time because he ran some water. And then he told him to scrub, otherwise he was going to drown him, I guess. And then shortly after he said that, I heard splashing, and like he gasped for air.
You could hear him gasping for air.
Yeah. And then he took him back upstairs already.
How long do you think that was going on where he's like splashing and gasping for air?
Maybe he only did it for like 2 seconds. He put him under and just lifted him back up and sent him upstairs.
Jennifer saw everything. She knew exactly what was happening in that house. Takoda was suffering and she did nothing. An innocent gasping for air, his head forced underwater in the bathtub, yet Jennifer remained indifferent. That was the answer detectives needed. Her involvement was undeniable, but this was just the beginning. More details were yet to be revealed.
You said that there was that chair upstairs that he would sit on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
How long was that up there?
Probably a couple weeks. He only sat on it when he was like, mainly misbehaving. Like, wouldn't stand still or anything. Like, if Al told him to stand still, like, he'd make him cross his legs and stuff because he's naked, and stuff like that. So he makes him cross his legs, and if you don't do that, he makes him sit down.
On the stool, but
Yeah.
with the flat part up.
Yeah, he sits on the flat part, yeah.
Did you see Al come down with the stool leg or anything?
No.
Okay.
Did you ever see the stool broken?
No. When I went upstairs, after it all happened, is when I seen it up there. I didn't know it.
When did you go upstairs and see it? Was it like before the police were called or after you went home that night?
It was after.
Has it been cleaned? Have you guys cleaned it up there at all?
Yeah, we did it. Yeah.
You cleaned it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Where is all that stuff at now?
In the garbage. On the side of the road.
On the side of the road?
Yeah, in the garbage.
Okay, at your house though?
Yeah, because garbage goes to there.
It was today?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when did you see the stool? I'm sorry, I don't think I was clear on that.
We went up there yesterday to start cleaning.
So you didn't see the broken stool
No, not until yesterday.
until yesterday?
Yeah.
You had mentioned that when he came down, he was kind of like rubbing up against stuff or whatever, acting like he always does. What do you mean by that?
Well, he just like always, I don't know how to explain that. It's just, like I said, he always puts on a show. Just like, I caught him shaking his butt one time because on the camera. And he just likes just to dance around, move around. So I just thought he was just doing that just to make me mad. So I can tell Al that he's just not ever listening to me because he never listens to me. That's why I just gave up talking to him at the most part.
He's dancing around. Why is that bad?
I don't know. I was just always told that if he's doing stuff that he's not supposed to, we just tell him and like that.
Because he's touching stuff? Is that why?
Well, I'm going to get up and show you stuff that Takoda's supposed to do. So he's supposed to stand like this with his sometimes hands behind his head, sometimes behind his back. So if he goes like this or like just uncrosses them, and freaks out. And then I know this is going to be weird, but another thing, he's supposed to go like this, and he's supposed to bend it over, just like this, and then have his hands spread out like that. So, yeah, and if he's not doing that, I have to tell Al, and that's
Like all the time while he's up there, so he's not touching anything?
Yeah.
So for like hours, he's supposed to be doing that?
Until 7 in the morning till about sometimes 3, 4 in the morning.
So almost 24 hours. Well, 20 hours, essentially.
That he's just supposed to stand there either with his legs crossed and over?
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
I guess that was supposed to make him start listening, get things through his head that he's stopped going to the bathroom on himself. I don't know.
How long has he been doing that, or he's doing that for hours at a time?
I can't even remember when he started.
I mean, like a year or months?
Probably longer than a year. I don't know. I don't remember.
That he's been supposed to stay like that? How's he supposed to sleep if he's doing that?
He goes to bed an hour, but at least recently he started going to bed at 8 o'clock, but before that I was always told to have him up until Amanda gets home, which is around 11, and then if I tell him to go to bed, I'll sometimes freak out, and that's when he started going, railing in on him again.
When you say he was supposed to stay up, so you watched him on the camera to make sure he's awake and not laying down, or?
Yeah, he lays down right over on his cot.
But he's not allowed to go to sleep until she got home. Is that accurate? Or?
Yeah.
The brutality was beyond comprehension. Takoda was even forced to eat while holding the punishment stance. He was deprived of sleep, barely fed, and relentlessly beaten. He was living in hell, and the devil behind it all was his own father.
I don't know why, but
It seems odd to me because as far as I know, he didn't wear clothes the majority of the time, right? Why did he have shorts on that morning?
well, he always had a pair of shorts, but Al makes him wear it on top of his head because he is always wet and everything. So it just, yeah, full of pee and poop. So he puts it on top of his head.
He puts them on his head and then he puts them on before he comes down
Yeah,
normally?
yeah,
Okay. But he's up there naked with the pants on his head?
yeah.
Okay. What are those pants, what do they look like?
I think maybe normal, like,
Are they shorts or are they pants?
yeah, they're shorts. They're just,
You have any idea what color?
I think, like dark blue, maybe black.
Okay. Because I think he had tan pants on. Did you see him get him dressed before the police came?
No, I was in the car.
Okay.
I have a question. When they brought him down before you and Amanda left, where was he when you left?
He was in the bathtub. Because as soon as they both get up in the morning, I go back to my room because I get up early. I just take a short nap. But Amanda came back there freaking out, saying stuff like, I don't know what she was all saying, but she was like, she said that we gotta go, and that's about it. She was in tears and stuff, and I didn't even have a chance to put friggin' shoes or a sweater on. I just got out the house and stuff, so I just didn't know what the heck was going on.
But he was in the bathtub?
Yeah.
How do you know he was in the bathtub? Just by passing by?
Yeah, door was open, light was on. I seen Al hovering over the bathtub.
And could you see Takoda?
No.
You just saw Al over the bathtub?
Yeah, which I kind of figured something. Like, Amanda told me that he was in the bathtub. That she was trying to push on his chest, I guess, trying to get him to breathe, because I guess he wasn't even breathing in the bathtub.
So you didn't see him at that point, though?
No, I
seen him earlier?
just walked straight out the house, I grabbed Joe and walked out.
I think when we talked earlier, after you heard him in the bathtub and you thought he was drowning, you said something about Al kind of took him and threw him around. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he did that all upstairs.
So he took him out of the bathtub, and Takoda, did he drag Takoda up? Or
No, Dakota walked up there.
He walked?
Yeah.
Okay. Was he stumbling or
Yeah.
walking with help or just by himself?
If I know, I think he was just stumbling by himself. Then Al was walking up behind him, and that's when it all doors shut, and that's last I seen of it for like 30 seconds, so he can go up the stairs. Then he made him lay on the bed, and then he got him back up again, and he took him over by those windows, those boarded windows, and then he was tossing him around on the floor.
What kind of things could you hear from downstairs? Because I know
Nobody even said anything. He just,
Al wasn't yelling at him,
no,
or
mm-mm.
could you hear the thuds? Could you hear things being thrown around? I mean, like,
All I heard was Al's feet, because that's basically all I heard.
could you hear the hits? Could you hear, like, I mean, could you hear like that kind of sound? Like that?
When you're upstairs, you can't really hear, like, smacking sounds. It's just
Did you see him kick him?
not around. He was upstairs. No, I just seen him stomping on him, or stepping on him, I should say. That's the only thing I've seen him.
So after he takes him over by the window and throws him around on the floor, what was he throwing around on the floor? Like just flinging him? I mean, how was he?
Just like, here. Just like grabbing him like this and sliding him around the floor, I guess I should say.
Like dragging him around?
Yeah.
This information makes it clear that Takoda was consumed by fear. He had lost control of his instincts, pushed far beyond human limits by Al Mutahan. But Al tells a very different story, and it would prove to be a disturbing glimpse into just how twisted he really is.
Yeah, my little brother started living with us, right? And the Bob want to get aggressive with him and, you know what I mean, try to take his clothes off in front of him and stuff like that. So, I mean, I had to protect him. I had to just send Takoda upstairs. I mean, the living environment, it was fine. It wasn't, it was perfect, actually. When he went up there, he didn't stink. He had a bed, he had clothes, he had everything he wanted. But this is the point that I'm trying to make as a parent. This is how far this shit go. I mean, I had social services out there. I called the police. The police told me he was being unruly and that when he got a little older, they'll be able to, you know, put him in some type of juvenile center. And I mean, this is the day after he jumped out the window. I mean, I'm traumatized. Every day, it's a new show.
Every word from Al Mutahan is gut-wrenching. No one should ever have to hear such things from a father, but tragically, this is the reality. And let's not forget, he's speaking about his own dead son. What makes it even more disturbing isn't just what he says, but how he says it. His tone, his behavior, his lack of emotion, and everything else points to one chilling truth. Al Mutahan is a monster. And now there's no doubt he'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. But what about Jennifer? She stood by and watched it all happen. She could have called the police or alerted Child Protective Services, yet she did nothing until it was too late. She may not have been the one to torture Takoda, but her inaction makes her complicit in this horrific story.
So I'm going to get back to the house too. You guys went up and cleaned it up after you left here?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the metal spatula still there? Do you know?
I think we threw everything out.
Through anything that was mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the taser?
I never seen that one. Never seen it since.
Okay. But specifically, you know the spatula was thrown out?
Yeah, because I threw it out.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Into the trash along with the tarp
Yes.
and the cot.
Yes.
And did you guys completely clean out that attic area?
Yes.
Okay. Was there clothing up there?
There was some in there's small closets up there. It was just, the bag was buried. There was clothes up there. I seen it when I was cleaning out the closet. There was a small bag up there. That had a few things in there.
A few things.
Yeah, and then in the basement there was a bag of clothes, shoes, socks, a bag.
Ironically enough, there's a lot of dog poop and pee down in the basement.
Yeah, I haven't went down there and cleaned it up.
It's just weird to me that Al's so angry about Takoda peeing and pooping, that the dogs are okay to do that.
I never understood that either.
So it's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
He just blames all that on Takoda instead of the smell of maybe dog urine or feces.
He does blame it on the dog sometimes.
Does he ever hit the dogs?
No.
Just Takoda?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where disciplinary master Al Mutahan draws the line. He can endure the stench of dog feces for days, yet when it comes to his own son, he suddenly becomes the self-proclaimed king of disciplinarians. The reason behind his deep-seated grudge against Takoda remains unclear, but what's even more disturbing is that he won custody over Takoda's biological mother, Robin Lynn Collins. Many questions still linger, but one truth is undeniable. Al Mutahan, Amanda, and Jennifer embodied pure evil. And as far as Al Mutahan is concerned, his statements regarding Takoda were nothing short of sickening.
He's my son. He was handsome. He looked just like me. You know what I mean? And I would invite him to sit down, watch TV, and this, that, and the third. And he would just... And I mean, the smell was so loud, I can go up there and clean it every day. And 5 years from now, you'll probably smell it. So if it was the fumes, I don't know what it was. I mean, I did everything in my power. That bucket that was upstairs, I used to put soap and water in it and have him clean it up. Clean the floor up, clean your walls, clean it up. Like, it's just unbearable. I'm downstairs on the couch. I can't even sleep because the smell is so strong. You know? I mean, outrageous. And he getting put in the shower every day. on a regular, you know what I mean? But regardless, it'd be like you never put a drop of water or soap on him. It's very shocking right now, the fact that he did. I mean it. I never thought that he would end up dead. I figured if he eat his own poop, I even Googled it, like, will it hurt you? And they was like, nah, you know, to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Just to see, because, I mean, I was to the point where, what am I supposed to do? Call the police and be like, oh, my son is over here eating today?
Did you ever take him to the doctor?
Yeah, he's been to the doctor.
You have?
Yeah.
What's the doctor?
It's been so long, I don't even know.
His guilt-free and narcissistic expression is revolting. His reaction says clearly that he couldn't care less for Takoda. And even after all the torture he'd inflicted on the night before Takoda lost his life, the house echoed with his screams. Yet no one came to help. It was his final cry for help, but tragically, no one cared. Not even our witness, Jennifer.
So you heard screaming the night before, but you don't know what happened. Because I think you said that you sleep a certain way or something.
Yeah.
Does he very often make noise like that? Like scream or anything?
Yeah, he always screams when he's,
When he's getting hit?
He always tells me to shush.
Okay, so it's not uncommon for him to scream if he's in pain, but he didn't do that after Al brought him up that day? He didn't make any noise?
And you didn't see or hear anything that you can remember from the night before?
No.
The initial interrogation provided the detectives with the essential information they needed at the time. However, upon reviewing the reports, unsettling questions remained unanswered. Takoda had severe injuries to his privates, injuries that couldn't have been caused by hot sauce or even tasers. Additionally, when Al Mutahan made the call, there were feces in Takoda's mouth, something that demanded an explanation. To uncover the truth behind these horrific details, Jennifer was brought in once again.
Recently he started using a taser. And then then we got this metal spatula down right over that he used to beat him with it. And then this morning, I called him down for breakfast. He wouldn't come. I called him down, kept on calling him down. Finally, he came down, and then I woke up Al, and he was sitting, Takoda was sitting on the toilet, and he elbowed him in the back, and then he fell to the floor, and started beating on him, and then he threw him in the bathtub, and it sounded like he was drowning him. So he was talking to him and telling him he was going to drown him, and it sounded like that because all I heard was splashing because he wouldn't clean his shorts because he came down wet this morning. And he took him back upstairs and threw him out. Then he made him lay on his stomach, hands behind the back, and stepped on him. And then he made him lay in the bed, and he was laying on his side. And then he was at the back of him. I don't know what he was doing out there. I couldn't see. And then he threw him back off the bed, drug him a little bit up from, and then I know it was going on for 30 years. I should have done something even longer. Since he was little.
This time, Jennifer seems remorseful, but since she's been charged with involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment, it's hard to tell if she's grieving for Takoda or simply for her own freedom. Either way, after revisiting the same events once again for clarity, the detectives finally arrived at the pieces they needed to complete the case.
There was part of like a stool or something? What was going on with that?
He would make him sit on it with his legs wide open because I don't know the whole reason.
He would sit on it when it was part of the chair? Or?
Yeah, when it was all the way together. Because he wouldn't stand still with his legs crossed, hands behind his head. And then he brought that home one day and made him sit on it.
Like with the legs up?
No, he was sat on the top of it.
Did you see Al with this, like one of the legs today?
He hid it behind the dresser in the living room. Well, part of it, and then the other one was on the sink in the bathroom.
What was he doing with it?
Like that, I don't know. I can tell you that one. I don't know what he was doing with that.
So the leg to the stool, you know what I'm talking about? You never saw him use that on Josiah?
No, I didn't. No. That child never got beat or anything, just got some spankings when he wouldn't listen, but...
I didn't mean Josiah, I'm sorry, I meant Takoda.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
It's fine, but I was just saying,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, that's one thing I never seen him use. He usually, just use that spatula, his fists, his feet, and everything that is the only thing that he could see.
Did he, like, drag him up or down the steps or anything like that?
I know this morning he was wobbling like crazy when he was coming down the stairs. So I didn't know what was going on. I told him to walk normal, And so then he was walking, like rubbing up on things, and I woke up Al. So that's why I said Al got mad and started beating on him. But
The repeated questions about the stool leg may seem confusing, but there's a horrifying reason behind them. Jennifer struggles to respond, but the detectives later uncover the grim truth. Al Mutahan used the stool leg to harm Takoda in the worst way imaginable. He didn't just beat him with it. He inserted it into Takoda's genitals, causing severe injuries. This explained why Takoda struggled to walk and suffered such extreme damage. But when the detectives confronted Al Mutahan, he had his own disturbing story to tell.
I guess he goes back upstairs and acting out some more. I mean, jumping off the banister, everywhere, everywhere, the usual, might I add. I've been dealing with this for probably since he was 2 years old, he's been doing this. Yeah, and so I'm very tired. I ain't slept in 3 days, so I'm just sitting there. And here he come rolling down the stairs again, ba-doom, ba-doom. So I told him to go back upstairs. A little while later, I go up there. I see a stick in his, like a chair leg. So I asked him, what is he doing? And he's just steady, you know what I mean? Just steady doing what he do. This ain't the first time he tried something like that. So I see blood on the ground, and I asked him to pull it out. You know what I mean? Blood squirted immediately. Now I'm freaking out. I'm like, hurry up. You need to get downstairs so I can get you in the shower.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg in this tragic story. Al Mutahan was involved in far more menacing acts. Jennifer may not have gone to the same extremes, but the way she defends him next will surely make her a major part of this crime.
Had you ever heard any rumors about him sexually assaulting him?
he will never do that. No. Yeah. That, I don't know about that one.
Why was he that way with him? Like, I mean, I can see that there's no pictures in there. There was no pictures, no nothing. Like, he just didn't even exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So let me ask you, why did you never call the police or anything about it?
I don't know really. Just, I wanted to stand in his arms. But then he would just pause to make if he would come up with some stupid story when if we ever did, and he would just say, oh, I'll just say this and that, and I don't know, it's just...
You just make excuses.
He used to when they lived in Wisconsin, but now he just throws things at the floor and punches walls.
Or takes it out on Takoda.
That's it.
Al Mutahan treated his own son like a plaything, subjecting him to unimaginable cruelty. He didn't just abuse his girlfriend, he relentlessly tortured his own child. The stool leg was not the only thing that was used to hurt Takoda in his private parts. Takoda was even assaulted by his own father. That's the worst thing a father can do to his own son, but at this point, calling him a father is a disgraceful understatement. The horror just doesn't stop.
Didn't go poop in the pucks. I'm told to watch him because he likes to rub poop everywhere. So I kind of just peek in on him, see what he's doing, you know, not trying to be gross or anything, but... And then I noticed that he doesn't poop in the toilet. And so I told Al about that, so he asked him. And I guess one night he was pooping upstairs and he ate it. So I don't know what was the deal with all that.
Like he would have gotten in trouble if he had
If
been
there was,
found with it?
yeah, he would beat him.
So he ate it?
Yeah.
How do you know he ate it? You saw him?
I guess that's what they said. What he said. What Takoda said, I should say. That he
Takoda
eats
said
it.
he ate
Yeah. Because one day he was skinny, I should say. And then the next day, his stomach was fat. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I just thought that he just gained weight overnight. Just, you know. Like, I guess I could have fed him food, really good food, so.
Now, the truth behind the feces in Takoda's mouth is clear, but the way Jennifer describes it, though disturbing, is still a softened version of reality. The horrifying truth is that Al Mutahan forced Takoda to clean up his own feces, and when he failed, he was made to eat it. This wasn't a one-time punishment. It had been happening for a long time. At this point, no writer, no literary genius, and not even a thesaurus could capture the true vileness of Al Mutahan.
Sometimes tell him to bend over and cross his legs and spread out his hands. And then if he wouldn't do that, he'd go upstairs and do it all over again.
So, I'll just be honest. I mean, Takoda had some pretty bad injuries to his area.
I don't know nothing about that one. I'm
Well,
just heard of that now.
When he's telling him to bend over and cross
Yeah.
his legs, what do you think he was doing?
I don't know about that one, but I know he would always pour hot sauce on his butt and then, and stuff like that. And then make him scream, taunt, and stuff like that.
Make him what? I'm sorry.
Make him sit in hot sauce and salt and everything, and yeah. He would go, because Takoda would be laying on the floor, his backside would be to the railing area, and then Al would go upstairs and just like dump the hot sauce all over him, on his sores and everything. Make him burn, is what he says.
Did Amanda ever do anything to stop this?
Well,
Explain to me Amanda's part in when this is going on.
next time Amanda would be at work lately when he does it. Do it as soon as she walks out the door.
But before, when she was there, I mean, it's evident that she was aware that it was going on.
Yeah. And she told him to stop. She's been telling him to stop because he's been had too much going on with his body, and just let him do what he wants and stuff like that. I know that for sure. But yeah.
Did she ever try and stop Al?
None of us have.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
These are just questions that I have to ask.
I
I know
know.
that there's. I mean, was there a fear factor, or?
For me, I know it was. I'm terrified of him. He gets angry too easily.
Out of fear of Mutahan, the two women turned a blind eye to the suffering of an innocent child. Women are naturally wired to protect children. It's an instinct deeply ingrained in them. Yet these two ignored Takoda's agony, allowing him to endure unimaginable pain and, ultimately, a horrific death. But now, after all that has been said and done, Jennifer is about to say something that proves she's not much different from a monster herself.
Not really. Just, I know Takoda pretty much did this, like, he didn't do it mainly to himself, but he always, like, because Al doesn't abuse him, he just disciplined him. He just, like, used a spatula to spank his hands and his butt. But when I told you that he stomped on him that day, I didn't.
Okay, let me stop you real quick. I know that Amanda's manipulating
No,
you.
she is not. No,
yes,
she is not. No, she's not. I'm telling you what is going on. Why would Amanda tell me things to say?
Because your
It's just
story
not
has
right.
consistently changed every
Yeah,
time.
it could, but I could remember some stuff too.
Jennifer, you're about to get yourself caught in a trick bag. We have the jail calls. We had the conversations between Al and Amanda where they're telling you that you're a dog and that you need to get that dog to shut the f*** up.
Yes,
Because if that dog talks, that dog's going to get fucking pounded. All right? We have the jail calls. So all you're doing right now is you're lying for two individuals that physically abused a child for years. That's what's happening.
And
right
I think
now.
she probably still mentally abuses you, and I'm not okay with it. Okay?
Even after everything, Jennifer still tried to protect Mutahan, claiming he never assaulted Takoda. The truth was out in the open, yet she chose to defend him. Whether out of manipulation or fear, she should have realized that neither of them could harm her from behind bars. This only proves one thing: Takoda's life never truly mattered to her. And as for Mutahan, if anything, he became even more sickening by the end.
Yeah, I'm hurt that my child is gone. It's unbelievable. Like, I still don't believe right now. Dead, gone, not coming back.
You're afraid for your life?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. Your child's dead and you're afraid for your life.
I'll be spending the rest of my life in prison. I'm 30 years old. What I'm going to do for the rest of my life, all because I tried to raise my child the right way and he became defiant and we ran into a situation. You know what I mean? People knew what he was doing. Yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't for them to do anything about it. It was for me to do something. I feel like I should have really just tried harder on getting some better counseling. Yeah.
On September 8th, 2021, Mutahan pleaded guilty to charges of murder, kidnapping, assault, and child endangerment. He was sentenced to 51 years to life in prison. Amanda Hines was sentenced to a minimum of 22 years in prison, while Jennifer Ebert got an 8-year term. With a 51-year sentence, he'll likely grow old in prison or never make it out, but calling that justice feels painfully hollow. However, Takoda's memory will live on in every heart that aches for him, in every voice that speaks up for a child, and as a lasting reminder of how deeply we must protect the innocence of our children. So, what do you believe drove Mutahan to such monstrosity? And is the punishment for Jennifer and Amanda fair, considering they stood by and let it happen? Feel free to share your opinions. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any cases you want us to cover, please share your suggestions in the comments section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to uncover more cases like this from around the world. Until then, stay safe.